Super excited to be here with Brandon Cellucci, a pitcher in the Boston Red Sox organization. How's it going, man?
Yes, sir. It's going great. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here. I've seen a lot of your stuff on social
Yeah.
media, and I'm just glad to be on. So thank you.
Yeah, dude. Like, I mean, you're a content creator too. I guess we can just start with that. I mean, I wasn't going to, but you've been putting out some stuff too. Like, talk to me about your podcast.
So yeah, my podcast is something that I'm very excited about. Last off season, I did kind of like a trial run with one of the ones on like Zoom and stuff like
Yeah,
that, and interviewing people. And it was I didn't realize how much work it took.
dude.
So
Yeah,
credit to you and credit to everybody that does this stuff. And like the production and all that, it took a lot out of me each week. So I knew that when I went off for season, I was like, if I want to come back and make something really special, I got to put a lot of time, effort, and even some money into it.
yeah,
And so I grabbed my two best friends. Shout out Adam and DB, love
yeah,
those guys. And I reached out to them during the season. I was like, hey, I want to create some like a special podcast, like kind of like how we're able to like kind of give something to the world, but also just kind of sit there and talk about the things we're passionate about.
yeah.
And my boy DB, he came up with the very important thing is that you need a niche. I mean, I'm sure
Yes, yes,
you of course, you've like know that with being with this podcast. And I was like thinking, is like, what's the niche? And something I've always been passionate about is like motivating people, kind of like helping people because we all go through dark times.
yeah.
And I'm sorry, I'm going crazy.
No,
Like
you're good.
I'm
You're good,
ranting right
man.
now,
Yeah,
but
no, for sure.
it's kind of cool how it came all together. That basically the idea is that for each episode, we have a theme. And the theme is something that we can apply to our lives,
Hmm.
like consistency,
Yeah,
confidence, like stuff like that. And we go into details about things we're passionate about, sports, music, all that different type of stuff. But we tie it all in to whatever that theme is for each episode. And the reason that we came up with that is my best friend Adam, his dad is a pastor at
okay.
our church. And every time I go to church, I come out of it thinking, like, I really needed to hear something that he had to say.
Yeah,
Well, not everybody's religious out there. So I was like, we should make something that ties into the things that we're passionate about, but also I want people when they watch it to come out saying, like, they said some stuff throughout this that I really needed to hear.
yeah.
Does that make
Yeah, oh,
sense?
no, for sure. What happens when you run out of top or like themes? Because I mean, I feel like you guys have had like what you got 7, 8 episodes. I feel like you're in
Yeah, we got five.
5.
Basically, we take it one episode at a time,
Yeah,
and that is something like we wanted to kick off with like establishing what our niche was,
yeah.
and now we're gonna have some guests on soon,
Okay.
which are we're really excited about. And we're gonna schedule that for like our next one's gonna be in a couple weeks, so I'm very
Hmm.
excited about it. But yeah, no, I've honestly thought about that as well because there's also like we've had a lot of things to think about, like
Yeah,
including what happens when I head back to spring training.
yeah.
So there's a lot of things that are up in the air right now. So we're just trying to take it a step at a time, a week at a time, and just enjoying that. Like first of all, it's still new, so we're trying to grow it first,
Yeah.
you know.
For sure. And like the production is really nice. Like I mean, you guys are all like in person. Is that like a studio that you guys are at?
Yeah, yeah. So my buddy Oliver, who we went to high school with, when I had started my podcast around the same time, he started one as well. And it's he's from Philadelphia as well.
Yeah.
And when he started it, he went with this company called USALA, and
Okay.
they do a great job. There's a studio in Philadelphia, and I asked him about it. He was like very open with me about how everything went. And he actually had me and my buddy Adam on his, and
Okay.
we were in there. We're like, this is pretty awesome. Like the
Yeah.
whole studio vibe, like they do a great job. And so we went with them, and they've kicked us off really well. They've given us excellent production, and we're very grateful for them for sure.
Dude, that's awesome. All right, I got to talk about this.
Yeah.
I was creeping through your Instagram. Are
Uh-huh.
you trying to add model to your resume?
Oh, I honestly like it was just it's interesting you asked that because I've a couple of people have asked me that recently. So basically, I over the off season, I love kind of like dipping like my feet in like other waters, so it's
Yeah.
like it's not all baseball. Like I consistently train and all that stuff. That doesn't slow down at all. But like I try to experience other walks of life too. And my one of my good friends from my childhood, his mom is a photographer, and I got tied in through like a friend through a friend. This
Yeah.
modeling agent reached out to me, and at first I was kind of like a little weirded out by it
Yeah.
because like there's all the stories where it's like, oh, you could be a model, you just got to pay
Yeah.
$5,000.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, I don't know. So I was a little nervous about it, but he did. When he reached out to me, he did like kind of show like he wasn't looking for anything. Like he
Yeah.
could help me and stuff like that. And he's like, first you need to get some photos done
Yeah.
and promote them. And so I got my friend's mom to take some pictures of me, and
Sure, it's
I
optional.
promoted them. And so, like, I mean, it's one of those things where it's like baseball's obviously comes first.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm not really worried about where that goes, but
Yeah.
like, might as well see what could happen with it, you know?
Dude, that's cool. All right. Well, I
Mhm.
mean, this is going to be kind of uncomfortable to talk about. You're an Eagles fan.
Oh,
And we were
it's
talking
okay.
before this a couple days ago when the Niners and the Eagles were playing.
Uh-huh.
What is your confidence level in your Eagles right now?
So that was, I'm gonna tell you what, and I hate to admit this, but I I kind of saw it coming a little bit that
Yeah.
game. I saw it coming. We had been in the midst of like first of all, let's say this: like anybody who was trashing our schedule last year, like oh the Eagles were good because they had an easy schedule,
Yeah.
can't say crap about what's going on
Yeah.
now. We have an insane schedule,
Yeah.
and personally, I think always next to us. I think the 49ers are the most dangerous team in the NFL. It's
Yeah.
like they're incredible. Like the talent they have, their pass rushers, their offensive line, their weapons, it's crazy. And like I'm never gonna crap on Brock Purdy. I think he's an excellent QB.
Yeah.
So I mean, during the midst of like us having a really tough schedule and them coming in off of a hot streak, they had that 3 game losing
Yeah.
streak, but then they started what they won 5 straight now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so like I kind of saw it coming. They were really
Yeah.
hot. Debo was talking all this crap, and I'm like, and I'm not gonna lie, he backed it up. I
Yeah.
went to the game, that man cooked,
Oh, you were
and
at the game?
it was just kind of like, you know what, they got us,
Yeah.
they got us.
Wow.
Hopefully we can switch it by. Hopefully we can come a little better prepared if we face y'all in the playoffs, though.
Dude, that's. I think it's like the Niners, Eagles,
Oh
maybe
yeah.
the Lions. I don't know. I mean, I'm not too sure. I mean, I'm
Mhm.
still gonna see more. I mean, obviously, the record is what it is.
Yeah.
But let's talk about your background. Like, where does your whole baseball journey begin?
So it all begins kind of, I mean, where I am right now, like Philadelphia. I grew up loving baseball. I grew up loving like my ever since I was like young, I would like throw stuff,
Yeah.
just always be throwing stuff, and I couldn't wait to get to pitching because I was never really a good hitter. Like
Yeah.
I'm gonna be
Okay.
real. Like I
Yeah.
mean I've always been talented in like the game of baseball, but like once we got past little league, I could see that like guys were getting really good at hitting and I wasn't so much. And but like I always knew I loved pitching
Yeah.
always, and that's why it's kind of funny that we brought up like dipping our like finding other interests too, because it's just always been baseball.
Yeah.
And I love that. Like, so I mean, growing up, I mean, I grew up in Philly. I was fortunate enough to go to high school at a really good school. I got a baseball scholarship to go there, called William Penn Charter School.
Is it like
We
a
had an
big no? Is
excellent
it known for
team. We
baseball?
have, sorry.
Is it known for baseball? That's cool. Like, do you
It's
have like a
kind of
good program?
honestly, it kind of changes. It's in the this league called the Interact, which is
Okay.
like 6 private schools in the Philadelphia area,
Hmm.
and I mean they just all of us just breed college athletes and pro athletes. I mean my high school team had 4 guys in minor league baseball on it right now.
Jeez. Okay.
Yeah, we had. I don't know if you've heard of Michael and Sammy Ciani.
Um.
One's on the well, one just got picked up by the Cardinals. One's on the Pirates, and Mike actually made his debut. And then Joey Lancelotti, who's in the minors for the Mets. So it was a stacked team. It was a lot of fun playing high school baseball.
Yeah.
Um, but and then I ended up going to Tulane University for 2 years. It definitely is not as like I could go into depth about stories. It wasn't as smooth of a road as it just sounds. But I'm very
Can you
grateful
talk about
for.
that then? Like, what wasn't
Yeah.
smooth? Was it like the recruiting process, or just
Mhm.
like the whole college experience in general? Like, what how was your whole recruitment process too? Was that like your school you wanted to go to?
Yeah,
Um,
no. Honestly, I'm glad you brought that up because we can get in depth about
oh,
that.
for
So
sure.
basically, I always wanted to go to the U, Miami.
Okay.
It was my dream school, and my great uncle had like a tie in there. Like he was like a booster for them and
Oh,
stuff.
snap.
And like Miami doesn't need to come up to Philly to see anybody play. They got like the whole state of Florida. And so I ended up he got me into a camp down there where I went and pitched in front of them and they offered me a scholarship.
Okay.
And it wasn't a big scholarship. So like I knew I had a lot to prove to hopefully like change that to get more money
Yeah.
to be able to afford it. But so a year later, they came to see me at a tournament in Georgia, and I got into a car accident on the way to the game. Um, and I have like I guess I could say an undiagnosed concussion from it
Oh
because like
wow.
I never really knew like what happened. I had never had a concussion before. All I knew is that I was kind of in shock. And I went and pitched in front of them, and honestly, a Diamondback scout was there too, which made it worse. And I threw like 12 straight balls,
Oh.
nothing even close. Like, and eventually, just like kind of worked out of it. Like, I got taken out of the game probably before the inning
Wow.
ended, and it was just bad overall. And my coach is like, "Look, these coaches know that everybody has bad days. Don't worry about
Yeah.
it. Don't call them. It's okay." And me, as a naive little kid, I'm thinking the world's ending because this like one really bad thing just
Yeah.
happened. And I called the coach and I was just like apologizing. And I'm like a 16-year-old kid. Like
Yeah.
I'm just like I don't really know what's like going on. I'm also like loopy. And the coach hangs up and then he calls me back and he's like, "Hey, we don't think Miami's the place for you."
Wow.
Hung up with him, and that was it. And then yeah, so that was tough. I definitely am grateful looking back that it happened because I ended up going to Tulane, and I wouldn't be where I am today
Hmm.
without all that happening. But that's the one of the like stories I really love bringing up because it just like there's so many times where kids, especially athletes, will face some sort of adversity earlier in their life, which doesn't like really connect to anything they've been through before,
Hmm.
and they think like I'm never going to recover from this.
Mm.
This is the end of the world. Nothing's like, and I just like to show and like be vulnerable about that to show like, yeah, like it's okay. Like things can get better and you can recover from those
Yeah.
adversities that you face.
What's your best advice for getting through adversity? Obviously, in baseball, you have ups and downs. You had injuries, or at least like
Mhm.
that car
Yeah.
accident, and obviously, like your dreams of going to your school crushed. What is your best advice, or how do you handle like going through the ups and downs and facing that adversity?
I think it's becoming comfortable with the fact that you can't avoid it.
Hmm.
Um, I I love movies, and I love using this analogy. I love movies because there's like a plot. There's a rising action, climax, falling action, resolution.
Hmm.
But life's not like that.
Yeah.
Life has a whole bunch of ups and downs, and I could there's been tons throughout my career. But the thing is like every down, like every time I feel kind of alone or bad or like nothing's gonna get better, like sometimes you just got to give it time and keep working hard and you'll find that like that light at the end of the tunnel.
Hmm.
But it's not like it's not going to happen again. It can happen again, but it's the cycle. You have to be able to handle it. So avoiding it is just living your life in fear, but it's unavoidable. We all go through crap, you
Yeah.
know. And when you're able to realize that and kind of I guess get you like you have to go through it to be able to overcome it, you know?
Yeah. For
And
sure.
so I guess it's just not shying away from it, facing it head on.
Yeah, I'm assuming your faith also plays a part in just kind of keeping that like strong mental like the
Yeah.
mental side. You mentioned like faith and the church that you attend and stuff like that. So I'm just assuming like I grew up in going to church and stuff. So that kind of
Yeah.
like has been like a guiding like force for me.
hmm
I'm assuming it's something similar for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the one thing that I try to understand, even though it's consumed my life, is that at the end of the day, there will be a time where I have to hang up my cleats,
Hmm.
and there will be a time that I have. And my high A pitching coach, Bob Kipper, he said this really well: is that baseball is just like your professional career, even your amateur career, is just like a small portion of your whole life.
Hmm.
So like the way I look at it is I'm going to get everything I can out of this. But at the same time, I need to have a greater purpose than just throwing a white baseball in a
Yeah.
little box, you know? And I think that higher purpose for me is just trying to help others, whether it's mentally or like on the baseball field. Like I always get this certain like satisfaction, this kind of like euphoria of like being able to help someone else, no matter what it comes from. And I think that's kind of what my purpose is. That's what I think that's personally why God has put me on this earth, is to be able to help people in any ways I can. And I think that if I'm able to gain a platform, if I'm able to become like famous essentially from playing baseball one day, I think that is a tool to get me to be able to reach more people and help more people, you know?
Dude, that's awesome. And especially like even just with like your podcast and the
hmm
content you put out, obviously you have like themes and stuff, which is pretty cool. I
Yeah.
like that. Question for you though. You mentioned that like, or you said a couple of times that baseball is kind of like everything. Like
Mhm.
you're 100% baseball. How do you find that balance then of like, cause you can't think about baseball all the time. Otherwise it just, I mean,
Mhm.
it consumes you so much. Like how do you,
Yeah.
like is it like sports or like golfing or like what do you do, or not sports, like it's golfing or like gaming?
Yeah. I mean I have a bunch of other interests. I really like it's kind of random, but I really like dancing.
Okay.
And I'll go yeah, and I'll go into depth about that. I really like that you brought up because of baseball. Why I'm so passionate about it is because like like you said, baseball kind of consumes your life.
Yeah.
So when I kind of go to this other like me, essentially the me that not everybody sees, it feels like kind of like my own little happy place where no one can bug me. You know, it
Yeah.
doesn't feel like I'm Brendan the baseball player where there's expectations and like there's a path. It feels like I'm just kind of in my own like I guess little world. I
Yeah.
guess I could say, and it's nice because like it's not like I go up and like dance like for like performances and stuff like that. Now I did in high school, I
Oh,
did
okay.
talent shows and stuff like that, but I just like enjoy like kind of the like just like feeling like the music, you know.
Yeah. Dude, that's all, so what kind of dance do you do?
I do a lot. So I started when I was like 8, and I would imitate Michael Jackson. I
Okay.
copied all of Michael Jackson's moves. And then after that, like when I started like kind of gaining the confidence to be able to dance in front of other people, I kind of loved it. It kind of felt like pitching a little bit because like you're in that like you're kind of by yourself out there, and it was really cool. And then like as I got older, I would watch like the Step Up movies and stuff like that, and just like kind of learn and like
Yes.
teach myself other moves. And
Yeah.
I just became really passionate about it. And like I said before, it just became like a little bit of an outlet, you
Yeah.
know.
Dude, what's your favorite dance movie?
Dance movie?
Yeah.
Oh, definitely the first Step Up with Channing Tatum.
Yeah.
And because like the other movies like have better dance moves to like learn and stuff, but the first one's plot,
Just
it was a
good.
really great all over around
Yeah, I
movie.
think they got. I think they did too many of those movies. I think they should have
Oh,
stopped at. Yeah,
100%. At the end, it was just dance battles that were put on TV.
dude, it's insane. So diving into your college experience, how was your experience at Tulane? Was there a favorite team that you liked to pitch against? Maybe their fans were just a little extra cocky. You're like, all right, I got to shove now.
I'm gonna tell you. I'll bring up a pretty good story actually. ECU was like the funny thing about our conference was everybody was spread out.
Okay.
So everybody just kind of hated each other. Like, no, there wasn't any like specific rivals. I
Yeah.
mean, we didn't like Houston because they were somewhat close, but ECU was always a powerhouse, and
Hmm.
everybody wanted to take them down. And so we go my sophomore year, and we play them. We get crushed on Friday, crushed on Saturday. I haven't even gotten into a game yet. Sunday rolls around, and I'm in the bullpen, and our starter didn't really get out of the third, or he entered the fourth. He entered the fourth, and then I came in, and my parents were there. My parents didn't get to come see me too much in college, and it was just everything. Like it's the biggest team. My parents are here. I'm pretty sure it was on TV too or something like that. And like the stars just aligned, and I just started dominating. And it
Yeah.
was funny because I faced this kid, Alec Burleson. He's the first. He's a first baseman or outfielder for the Cardinals right now.
Jeez.
Uh, One of the best hitters I've ever played. And and we were friends because I played with him and against him in summer ball the year before. And he goes, "You better not give me a high and inside fastball." And I missed my spot and gave him a high and inside fastball, and he crushed it. I
Oh.
come into the dugout after that inning, and I like punch the door. I am so pissed off. The game, like I forgot to mention, we were losing 5-3. We end up being up 9-8 during the
Okay.
span of when I'm pitching, and this just, or sorry, 9-5, and this homer just made it 9-8. So like it is an intense game now, and we keep going. I keep throwing. We get to the ninth inning, and I get the first guy out, and then I walk a guy, and I'm like out of gas now. Like they got a radar gun. My fastballs are getting a little down, and they bring in this kid Trent after me, and first pitch, ground ball, double play, game over. And I lost my mind, dude. It was just one of the most fun games I've ever been a part of.
Yeah.
It was competitive, it was passionate. It was like on their field too. They're all yelling at me. And the funniest part about it is after that game, I'm waving to my parents. They're in the stands, and this old super fan from ECU thinks I'm like waving them goodbye, like as if like
Like a
I'm
little
being
chirp.
cocky, and he starts cursing me out. And my parents are standing right next to him, dude. And they're just watching this guy curse me out. And I was just like, I don't care.
Yeah.
It don't
Yeah.
matter.
Wow. What is the best chirp you heard in college?
Oh, I got a good one for you. We were facing UC Santa Barbara, and I was throwing hard one day, but like as you've probably read about me, as many people have, I didn't have the best control in college, to say the least, and I nailed this dude in the ribs right after I came in the game,
Oh, jeez.
and he goes down like, and my walk-in song at the time, huge ego booster. I'm embarrassed to even say this, was Gasolina by Daddy Yankee.
Oh yeah, I'm Puerto Rican. I know that song very, very well.
Yeah, and so I peg the dude. He goes down, and some kid yells out, "You got to work on that controlina." And I was just like, you know what? You got me, bro. That was
Dang,
hilarious.
dude. Wow. How do you even? You can't even like. You can't even be
Nah,
mad. You just gotta
he
tip your
took
hat.
me
Like that
out
was.
right after that.
Jeez. Dang. Wow. That's awesome. One I ask this to everybody. Most guys who get drafted. Like, what was that moment in college? I call it that if to when moment when you stop thinking to yourself, if I get drafted, and start telling yourself, when I get drafted.
um, to be perfectly honest with you, it was I never really felt that moment.
Mm-hmm.
I've had a very tough time throughout my life being confident in who I was as a pitcher. It was a constant battle throughout my career, and it's only recently like kind of solidified in me, like where I've gotten rid of the doubt in myself,
Mm-hmm.
because I've only wanted like I said, every drop of this game I can get out. I want to be in the bigs. I want to go to the World Series. I want to experience it all. And I was too like scared of not being able to do that growing up. When in reality, like I said before, you got to be able to understand that like crap's gonna happen, but
Mm-hmm.
you got to be able to understand it and prosper from it and grow from it and move on. But that was something I think right before like the draft, I went to a pre-draft workout at the Red Sox, and I threw a very phenomenal bullpen, like right in front of them. And I knew they had seen a couple of my really good games, and I was actually a sophomore when I got drafted, so it didn't really even like kind of dawn on me the fact I was being drafted. It was more kind of like this choice came in of if I was going back to school or if I was leaving. And I told my agent I grew up a Red Sox fan, so if the Red Sox picked me, that was my dream always.
Wow.
I'll go if it's the Red Sox, and the Red Sox picked me.
Wow. What if it was the Phillies though? You grew up in that area.
That was the other one
Okay.
too. It was kind of like those two. Phillies it more were a little less interested in me than the Red Sox were,
Yeah.
which I totally understand. Like
Right.
to each their own, you know.
Yeah.
But so that was why kind of like the Red Sox became that vision of
Yeah.
like how I can get there.
So how did you grow up a Red Sox fan? If you're like the Phillies, I mean, were they just not good
No,
at
the
that
Phillies
time?
were great. I mean, I basically had it as like my AL team and my NL team,
Okay.
and I don't know, just growing up in like the days of like Big Papi. Big Papi was,
Yeah.
even though I couldn't hit, he was my favorite hitter. I always loved watching him play, and he kind of brought me onto that Red Sox train. I had like I said, I have some family up there. I have some ties to it, but it was more just like kind of had the NL team, I had the AL team, and I would just root for both of them. And if they played each other, like I was just kind of like, I got to root for the
Yeah.
Phillies.
Okay. Dude, that's
Mhm.
awesome. So you get drafted by the Red Sox. So you're in the organization now a few years. What
Mhm.
has been like your most like? What is your best minor league story? Because the minor leagues are a grind. The
Ooh,
bus rides, the food. Like, what is your best minor league story?
huh. I got all right, I got one in mind, but you can't post this on your Instagram.
All right, give me
Let
one that I
people
can
find it
post.
throughout the podcast. So, this year, I are in Portland. Our bullpen is connected to the locker room. It's
Okay.
like overhanging the field, and so we could go back in the locker room if we wanted to, if we had to go to the bathroom or something like that. So I went to the bathroom, and it's not a quick bathroom break if you get
Yep.
my feel. And one of my teammates comes running down. He says, "Brendan, you got to warm up." And I'm like, and sometimes we would mess around with each
Yeah.
other and
Yeah. Yeah.
stuff like that. He was not messing. He was like, "Yo, you got to go warm up right now." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh." So I get up as quick as I can. I go up to the bullpen. I throw 3 balls as hard as I can to warm up, and I'm in the game.
Jeez.
And mind you, this is the first game I'm back coming off of the dead list. I went on the dead list for a couple weeks due to performance issues, and I come back, so I'm like already kind of facing this like, all right, I gotta lock in now. Like
Yeah.
this is my time to like kind of turn the season around a little bit because I was struggling, and I just had a fantastic game. It was ridiculous. I ended up I threw 2 really good scoreless innings, and then we kept on going, and we went into the 11th inning, and they sent me back out there, and I was like kind of like before. This is still pretty early, so it's still a little cold, and I was just like freezing, kind of running out of gas, and we started with the guy. We started with the guy on second,
Oh, you
and
guys
as
did that in
soon as
minors too.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And as soon as they got that run home and we like lost the lead, or no, we didn't lose the lead, we fell out of a tie. They were like, "We got to get you out of there." But the thing was, it was such a cool like way to turn around. And the cool thing about it was, I cooked the rest of the year, and I really was, and it just kind of all started with that. So
Wow. Okay. A little
like
bathroom break
sometimes
sparked your
not
season.
being ready, like just gets rid of all the doubt, you
Yeah.
know.
That's awesome. What has been the
Yeah,
most random thing you've been asked to autograph?
back of a phone case.
I've heard a lot of those. Those are kind of weird. Like
Yeah,
I haven't
I
understood that.
I've gotten a croc before. A croc was an interesting one. Some people have asked on their arm and stuff, and I'd say I'm not
Yeah.
signing skin. I don't
Yeah.
ever sign skin. So yeah, those are probably ones. I've actually been asked to sign another player's card before. That was weird. I don't
Ooh,
remember the
interesting.
player, but I think it was. I think he like the kid had like because it's those people that wait outside.
Yeah, yeah.
Or,
With the
and I think
binders.
they just kind of like messed up, and I like signed it wrong. Kind of feel bad about it now thinking about it, but it is what it is.
Oh, you did sign it then?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, I mean the autograph guys, like I mean they're interesting. Like I mean I've seen them at spring training, I've seen it at the
Yeah.
fall league and games. Like
Mhm.
they'll just call random names and hope they
Yeah.
get it right. Like it's kind of it's kind of annoying, but it is what it is.
I
When
think I think the only time I don't mind it as long as they
Mhm.
have feel.
Okay.
Like if we're like working out and stuff like that, or if we're like if it's easy to tell that we're doing something or we're
Hmm.
like have some urgency, don't don't yell out our
Yeah.
names. Like let us do our thing. We see you there. We'll come over to you. Not everybody will, but I mean,
Hmm.
I can't control everybody. I
Yeah.
wish I could.
Yeah, I mean, have you
But
had any funny like fan interactions? 'Cause I've talked to guys who like fans have gone onto the bus after games and just start taking pictures.
really,
Like, yeah, it's there's
sheesh.
some crazy fans in the minor leagues.
Yeah, no, there definitely are. We actually we got into a scuffle this year with uh, Binghamton, um, and there's this one, and our catcher's getting yelled at by this guy, this fan, and the fan is like kind of like sticking his head like through like the net a
Uh
little
huh. Uh
bit,
huh.
like yelling at him. And my catcher has his like arms like kind of like pulled back like this by some another teammate, and so he shakes his glove off and throws his glove, and it hits the fan in the head, and the fan keeps jawing at him. So
Jeez,
then he spits his gum out and he throws his gum and it hits the fan in the head too.
bro, this guy has some aim.
And it was oh my god, it was hilarious. I mean, no, it was no punches were
Yeah.
thrown or anything. It was a bunch of like guys just yelling at each other. But like here, like that part, oh my gosh, that makes it legendary.
Wow, that's crazy. Like, talk about the aim on that catcher to throw his
Oh
glove,
yeah,
hit
he's
him,
a beast.
and then yeah. Who was one guy in your team that just like needed a bodyguard because like fans like just hovered over them trying to get the autographs?
Marcelo,
Oh yeah,
definitely.
yep, yeah.
Marcelo, uh, Hickey got it a good bit. Nathan Hickey,
Hmm.
and everybody loves Nick York and Blaze Jordan too.
Yeah.
So those were the big ones for sure. And then also like whenever we had a big league rehabber, oh my gosh, it
Yeah.
was insane because we had quite a bit this year. We had let me think. We had Richard Bleiler.
Mm.
We had Schreiber. We had like almost like half the bullpen.
Okay.
We had Corey Kluber and Trevor
Wow.
Story the same weekend,
Jeez.
so it was insane. Like I know, like that was like it was packed.
What do they do for you guys? Because I know like lots of times they'll come like either get the spread or I know like was it Scherzer who got everybody AirPods like 2 years ago?
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes they do that stuff. I mean, last year, Chris Sale rehabbed in Double A, and I wasn't in Double A yet, and he got
Oh.
everybody headphones, and it's so funny because they were really nice ones, so
Yeah.
everybody still wears them around the locker room. The guys that were in Double A last year,
Dang.
but mostly they get the spread for us,
That's
which
cool.
is really nice because like it's not. I'm super appreciative of all the food the Red
Yeah.
Sox like get us. Like go out of their way to get us. But sometimes it does get a little repetitive, which is understandable.
Yeah.
I mean, like it's more easy things to be able to organize. But like when you get like Chris Sale bringing in sushi or some shit like that, it's a bit different.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
I
awesome.
apologize. I didn't mean to
It's all,
curse.
I barely heard it, so it's all good. No no worries. All right. When you go to a gas station on a road trip, like what is your go-to snack?
Ooh, I love Airheads.
Yeah.
Airheads are the best. And I usually okay. So these are only like if it's like a long road trip
Yeah.
because like I try not to eat too many, but I love getting those big packs of the Nerds
The clusters?
clusters. Yeah,
Yeah.
have you seen those?
Yeah. Oh
Oh,
yeah.
those are like crack, bro. Oh my gosh, they're insane. And yeah, so I'll get like a big pack of them for like a long road trip and just be picking
Yeah.
at it the entire time.
Dude, that's awesome. So
What's
what?
your go-to?
Ooh, so I'm more of the salty. So I'll get like Takis,
Oh,
or yeah, so I'll crush those and like a Celsius.
mm-hmm.
Um, and then maybe sometimes if it's a long trip, sometimes I'll get seeds. It kind of keeps me
Okay,
awake.
okay. I
But
feel you.
like more salty, like I'll do like Takis. Like dude, I love those, man. And the
Have
sunflower
you ever had
seeds.
the blue ones?
Ooh, yeah, yeah, but I feel like
I've
it
never
kind of
tried them.
I
I'm
feel
kind
like
of
it just
scared to.
I feel like the taste is pretty similar. I feel like it's a
Oh,
worst,
okay,
but not as good. So I mean, I'm not a big fan of
gotcha.
the blue ones. Like the original is just the
Mhm.
guacamole. I don't know if you've had
The
those.
guacamole
Oh,
one?
dude, yeah, it's like
Oh, I'm
a
gonna have to go try
I don't know if it's like a
those.
silverish greenish color, or I can't remember what it is, but dude,
Okay.
look it up, man. The guacamole is really good. And
Yeah.
I was in Texas not too long ago, and they have Tapatio Doritos, which we don't have in Wisconsin.
Oh,
But like
okay.
it's Doritos, but like the Tapatio sauce flavored. And
Oh, okay, okay.
those are
I don't
good.
think I've seen those
Those are
either.
good. Yeah, I haven't seen them very often, but like I try those. Like those are fire.
If you ever notice, like there would just be sometimes like a random new like chip flavor,
Yeah.
and you're just like they're running out of ideas, bro.
Yeah. Well, I know. Like I feel
Sometimes.
like Lay's a couple years ago. Maybe they do it every year. I don't know. They had like a
Mhm.
competition. Like you like submit the flavor you want, and then
Oh, okay.
they'll produce it. So like I don't know how that worked, but I know like
Mhm.
there was just random flavors, and you're like that doesn't even sound good. Like why would I eat that?
Look, I think I saw a ketchup one once
Dude,
before.
that's nasty. Like I wouldn't even eat that.
No, no chance. No
That doesn't
chance.
even that doesn't even sound good. When you're in the bullpen, like what do you do to hype yourself up? Like are you like a Red Bull guy, smelling salts? What do you do? Dry scoops?
So I'm like that. That's interesting because I always tried to like growing up, and I think this became like a little part of my inconsistency with the strike zone
Yeah.
growing up. Was like I always tried to create this like this menace on the mound growing up, and the thing was is like I'm not that type of guy,
Okay.
so I had to create that guy,
Got it.
and it worked like sometimes, but the thing was is the higher you go, the more you have to
Sure.
play. Like we play 6 days a week now, so am I going to be able to make myself angry or make myself into this menace like 6 days a week?
Yeah.
No,
It's
I
hard.
can't force myself into some sort of emotion. And the thing was, I tried to before because I realized that that anger that I had, like
Mm-hmm.
when I could like just go in and shove, it kind of blinded me of that kind of self doubt that we talked about
Yeah.
earlier, and that was when I was able to be successful. But this year, it actually spoke like the most. It was like it's just I'm the most successful when I simplify things the most.
Mm.
So kind of treating it like, okay, this is just one outing out of a long season.
Yeah.
We go to this. I've done this before. I can do this again. Like just kind of treating it like that, not putting too much pressure on one singular day. And then I try and simplify even more to when I'm out there, like each pitch, because it's like, okay, either this pitch is a strike or it's a ball or it's hit out of the yard, but it doesn't matter. There's always going to be another pitch. Like simplify it to that. It's just how well can I execute this pitch? And if I do execute it, great. If I don't execute it, let's work on the next one. Like it's always just like that kind of simplifying the moment. And when the moment's over, who cares?
Yeah. Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Let's end on this. I like to ask everybody I interview, what are three things that you are grateful for?
Oh, um, I'm grateful for my family and friends, that kind of like inner circle.
Mm-hmm.
I'm grateful for my ability to play the game of baseball, and I'm grateful for Nerds gummy clusters.
Hey, let's go. Dude, that's awesome. Well, hey, Brandon, I want to thank you for coming on, man. I appreciate chopping it up with you a little bit. You can give your podcast a plug, like drop like the
Oh
name
yeah,
and all
yeah.
that.
So it's called Culture Church Podcast. It's available on most streaming platforms, but I highly suggest watching it on YouTube. It's
Yeah.
a lot of fun, and we talk about some really deep stuff. So I think you'll enjoy it while also learning something about yourself you didn't know. So
Dude,
y'all go check it out.